joining us for the Roundtable discussion on Advancing Transport Leadership Program. So this program is actually something special for everyone here in ADB and also for our DMCs because it looks after beyond what's the technical skills, beyond developing the technical skills of our ADB staff and DMCs, but also building their leadership capacities. So to start off with our program, may I call our Senior Sector Director, Hiroaki Yamaguchi, to introduce us with some welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Good afternoon, colleagues, partners, and distinguished guests, all the way from far away from places. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining this focus session of the Asia and the Pacific Transport Forum on the Advanced Transport Leadership Program, or ATLP we call. Strong transport leadership is becoming increasingly important as our region faces growing infrastructure demands, climate pressures and disasters, rapid urbanization, technological change, and continuing safety and inclusiveness challenges. Many of these issues are no longer purely technical in nature. They require leaders who can navigate complexity, build partnerships, and translate ideas into practical and transformative solutions. ATLP was established in response to this need. Through its case-based and collaborative learning approach, the program aims to strengthen the leadership capabilities of transport professionals from both ADB and our developed member countries. Beyond technical knowledge, the program seeks to foster strategic thinking, cross-country learning, and long-term professional networks that can support sector transformation across the region. The importance of initiatives such as ATLP has also become increasingly evident within ADB itself. Following the introduction of ADB's new operating model in 2023, colleagues from different regional and knowledge teams were brought together more closely within the Transport Sector Office. ATLP program created both an opportunity and a responsibility to strengthen collaboration across regions and teams, while fostering leadership at every level of the organization. In this context, ATLP has become one of the few truly cross-region and cross-team initiatives within the transport sector. Actually, we work together with the CCSD, especially climate change areas, and then OMDP. Today also we have a director here. Beyond its formal learning objectives, the program has helped strengthen professional networks and build a more connected transport community within ADB and among our developing member countries. Since its inception, our BPMSD, budget and especially talent development team, has served as a key partner and a co-lead in shaping the program's leadership development approach, working closely with transport colleagues and external partners to integrate technical learning, case-based leadership development, and participant engagement into a more holistic learning experience. The first cohort in Tokyo in 2025 strongly confirmed the demand for such a community of transport leaders across the region. It also helped define what ATLP is ultimately intended to become. Together with the ADBI colleagues, we realized that the program is not only about developing ADB staff. It is about building a broader community of the next generation of transport leaders across Asia and the Pacific, including colleagues from ADB as well as our developing member countries. Building on this foundation and with the support from new partners, CAREC Institute and the Asia Pacific Finance and Development Institute, the second cohort in Shanghai further advanced the program through the introduction of case study-focused content development. This represented an important step toward strengthening the practical and application-oriented nature of the program. As we prepare for Cohort 3 in partnership with COTI, Korea Transport Institute, we are now focusing on how to further institutionalize ATLP within ADB and together with our partners. Our objective is to strengthen the program as a long-term collaborative platform for leadership development, knowledge exchange, and regional cooperation in the transport sector. Today's session provides an opportunity to reflect on lessons learned, exchange perspectives with our partners and supporters, and explore how the program can continue to evolve and expand its development impact. I would also like to acknowledge the strong collaboration of our partners and funding supporters who have helped make this initiative possible. Today's signing of the MOU with the CAREC Institute further reflects our shared commitment to strengthening leadership, knowledge exchange, and regional cooperation across the region. I encourage everyone to actively contribute your insights and ideas during today's discussions as we collectively shape the future direction of ATLP. With that, thank you once again for your participation, and I wish you a productive and meaningful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Sector Director Yamaguchi. And as he has mentioned, so this is a partnership within ADB also with our BPMSD, because we are also training our own ADB staff. And with this, we would like to invite Ms. Miko Mojica to deliver a message on behalf of Director Paul Curry from BPMSD. Miko, thanks.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. Before I read the message, I want to send apologies from Paul Curry, the director from BPMSD, for not making it today. Incidentally, he's also joining as a participant of a leadership program happening in Makati. So he's also participating with another invited speaker who's supposed to join us today. So it looks like joining leadership programs is in fashion. So if you haven't joined any leadership program and you're from ADB, let me know. Maybe I can help sign you up in one of those programs. So let me read a message. Good afternoon, colleagues and partners. BPMSD is pleased to stand alongside the Transport Sector Office as co-lead of the Advancing Transport Leadership Program. We also join you in congratulating all partners on what has been achieved since the program began. BPMSD sits at the center of how ADB invests in its people. ATLP is a strong reflection of that commitment. Through this program, we are helping ensure our staff are not only technically capable, but also ready to lead. Our strategic human resource framework, endorsed by the board earlier this year, calls for a workforce that is purpose-driven, high-performing, and adaptable. These are not abstract ideas. They reflect the kind of leadership that transport and the development more broadly needs today. The ability to navigate complexity, work across institutional boundaries, and make sound decisions in fast-changing contexts. Transport is not only about infrastructure, roads, railways, or ports. At its core, it's about people. It is about whether a child can safely reach school, whether communities can access jobs and healthcare, whether economies can grow sustainably, and whether countries can remain connected and resilient in the face of climate change and other emerging challenges. The decisions that shape these outcomes are made by people, and they need more than technical expertise. They need judgment, confidence, and strong relationships to lead effectively. Especially where authority is shared, solutions are not straightforward, and no single institution can act alone. This is the space that ATLP is designed to support. It is also why BPMSD has been part of this program from the beginning, not only to provide funding, but to help shape it as a learning and development partner. We look forward to seeing the next generation of transport leaders carry this forward across ADB and across our developing member countries. Thank you, and I wish everyone a productive discussion this afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Miko. And please also extend our heartfelt thanks to Director Curry. And as he has mentioned in his message, that BPMSD is truly a partner in shaping future transport leaders. And in terms of partners, so the next part of our session is as an MOU signing with one of our valued partners, which is the Carrick Institute. May I kindly request SSD Yamaguchi and Director Shaliev to please proceed on stage for our signing ceremony. Thank you. This signing ceremony will be witnessed by our representative from CWRD. Thank you. Thanks a lot, SSD Yamaguchi and Director Shaliev. And truly, we value the partnership with the Carrick Institute. Let's move on with inviting Director Chen to introduce about the ATLP. He is actually the one who initiated this very important program for our DMCs and the ADB staff. Director Chen.
Thank you, Dan. So first, it's not me. It's actually SSD Yamaguchi. Actually, is the one coming up with the idea. But a very good afternoon, colleagues, partners, friends of ATLP. Very happy to see everyone here. I hope you have enjoyed the Transport Forum so far, and very much grateful for you to spend the time here to join this roundtable discussion. So I would like to report, at this moment, we have already done 2 cohorts of the ATLP program. So the 2 cohorts has already involved about 100 participants, with about 50% from ADB and 50% from the developing member countries. In total, we have covered 9 countries at this moment, from Philippines, Pakistan, India, and also the 5 Central Asia countries, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz, Tajikistan, as well as Uzbekistan. So the feedback has been extremely positive. We actually even get several countries, they voluntarily financed their participants by themselves. So not because each country, we only provided 5 slots for their participation. There were several countries, they feel they want to send more of their transport professionals to this program. So we agreed to accommodate more. But later we realized that actually this made the program too big. We have to control the size a little bit. So with this journey so far, we have forged very strong partnerships with 4 partners already. Of course, ADBI is a very unique partner for us, so who hosted the first cohort in Tokyo. Then in Shanghai, we actually had a strong partnership with Carrick Institute as well as AFDI, Asia Pacific Finance and Development Institute. Their contribution made the second cohort possible. Moving to the next cohort in Seoul, Korea, which is scheduled in early July, we have actually relied on our partnership with KOTI, Korea Transport Institute. So this partnership made our program a very broad-based program with their experience in the region and their knowledge about the transport sector. And in this journey, I think we also found the program is quite different with what we conceptualized at the beginning. At the beginning, we were expecting this is a program will focus on the next generation of leaders within ADB. But from the first cohort, we realized this probably can be further broadened. It's not only ADB needed the next generation of transport leaders, it's actually the whole, and Asia and the Pacific will need the next generation of the transport leaders. So with the support of our partners, we broadened this to our DMC colleagues. So, and tried our best to maintain a 1-to-1 ratio. So for each and every cohort, we try to get 50% of ADB participants as well as 50% of DMC participants. So this really surprised us because the chemistry created by this kind of combination is one of the best outcomes of this program. We can see a strong bondage between the participants across region, across country. And this actually eventually lead to some very tangible discussion about how ADB should actually support in individual country on individual projects. We also found actually a transport-centered program is extremely important. So we all know the world is experiencing an accelerated transformation, innovation, as well as disruption at this moment. So transport sector is no exception. Actually, transport sector in many areas is leading the changes. So we need a transport sector to actually be a responsible sector, response to the new technology, response to the climate challenges, and respond to the finance challenges. So in this context, I think we tried our best to bring in the solutions which can represent new transport technology, responding to climate challenges, as well as public-private partnership collaboration. So overall, we found actually the last year of ATLP a very fruitful journey. We now actually get a very good, much better idea what we should do. But today's roundtable, we want to hear from you. What's your advice to us? I guess a very, very big question in the mind of our ATLP organizing team is what is required between a good transport professional and a transport leader. So many colleagues, both in ADB and in DMC, they were well trained in the transport sector, but this may not be enough for them to lead a project, lead a change, lead a flagship initiatives in the DMC context. So we need to fill the gap. We hope ATLP can serve the purpose with your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Chen. And as Director Chen mentioned, we have already completed 2 cohorts last year, one in Japan and one in China. So now let me invite the lead for those 2 cohorts to give us an overview of what actually happened to that cohort. Because we are here among like partners, and we want to show to all of you what this program is actually realizing. So let me start by calling Mr. Michael Anyala from the Transport Sector Office to give us an insight about cohort 1 of this program. Michael, thank you.
Thanks, Diane. I think we have a short video. Can you please play that for cohort 1?
Technological advancement should focus on two things: make sure the smart mobility, as well as trying to promote green energy, as long as it will ensure better safety and better services.
Asia and the Pacific now faces a $43 trillion financing gap. It's not just a financing amount, but at the same time, soft side, policy side, and then the capacity side as well. There are 1.6 billion population missing the urban transport systems, and also the rural areas, 400 million people still no access for the all-weather roads.
The time the roads were built, they were not built into the climate resilience. No. Most of the roads now being eroded by heavy rain. We got landslide. The landform is also is a real challenge where a lot of high mountains where we can't build a road. Most remote areas, they access them through the small plains. Most of the airstrips right now are not accessible because of no maintenance. They say, we can't waste our money to go inside unless they suck some kind of business where they can go and bring the goods out for market purposes, you see.
We're updating the Philippine Development Plan because we're at the midpoint of the plan implementation period. And so I think this transport leadership program came at a very opportune time to be able to draw inspiration from Japan's wealth of experience in terms of reforms and development. What I'm taking home from this program is, I guess, a richer perspective, a deeper understanding of how regional collaboration and fostering digital solutions can really help a more resilient, an inclusive, and low-carbon transport. And these insights can help us in our planning as we move forward with the Build Better More program.
Innovative transport solutions, especially in the context of India, if you see, India is a vast geographical country. So the innovative transport technology not necessarily is equally good for all the areas. Any technology needs education, and if it is innovative, definitely has some financial implications. The law should be favorable for the innovative solutions. And in the context of global scenario, we have to see whether that innovative solutions are necessarily good for our country. These are the few challenges I think we are facing in India as far as the innovative transport technology is concerned.
So this training is definitely going to help me out in certain areas, especially in designing and in planning my network. Have an assessment, have a climate damage assessment of my network, and identify the most vulnerable areas where we can attract climate financing for improvement of the network.
Right, so just, I think the video tells a lot, but let me just highlight a few points on what happens there. So in cohort 1, we had 39 participants from across ADB's developing member countries, including India, Pakistan, PNG, and the Philippines. I think what really stood out from this cohort is this deliberate mix of DMCs and ADB staff. And you can see the energy actually as shown in the video. And it, I think, demonstrated that our initial concept, where we want to bring ADB and DMC staff together, is the right one. And this is continuing also in other cohorts. Now, in terms of what worked well, we got very strong feedback from the participants. Almost all, to be very specific, 98% of the participants said that the learnings that they got from this cohort, they will apply directly to their work. They also reported strong engagement during this cohort. Now, some of the key sessions that we think stood out were the sessions that were led by MLEAD Japan. So they shared on how governments can lead in transforming the transport sector. So participants found that sections to be very informative. Another session that was highlighted was the site visit to Yokohama, because that brought to life how we can deliver these challenging transport solutions in practice. Again, we all found that very, very useful. Now, in terms of what we learned and what could be improved, people also wanted to hear about mistakes, because leadership is not about everything happening nicely, but there's also the acceptance that in trying to deliver things properly, mistakes can happen. So we wanted these lessons to be learned so that in future cohorts, we are able to share challenging situations and then be able to discuss how these situations could be addressed going forward. Another recommendation also that came from the cohort was the idea of case-based learning. So develop cases based on already observed experience, and then that could be used as the basis for the learnings in the future cohorts. This was actually suggested by ADBI, who are very experienced in delivering this kind of learning program, and is formed the basis upon which we are now designing future cohorts. I would also like to just mention the role of partners, particularly MLEAD and the government of Japan, and also ADBI, how they worked very closely with the ADB team to prepare this project, and guided us on also the programming to make it very successful. And actually to say, for ADBI's perspective, they contributed in many ways, both financially, but most importantly, also logistic-wise, in ensuring that this was a good success. So I will stop here, and thank you. Pass over to Diane.
Thanks a lot, Michael, and that sure was an exciting cohort 1 to kick off that program. So now let's move on to the insights from cohort 2, and I would like to call on the lead for that, Ms. Yidan Luo. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. So the second cohort was held in Shanghai PRC last November. Building on the success of the first cohort, we aim to maintain the momentum in partnership with Carrick Institute, FDI, as mentioned, ADBI, as well as some local partners, including GISTIC in the transportation area, as well as some private sector partners to facilitate our visits and keynote speech. This was again designed as a very intensive one-week program. Also, we have a similar video. Please, can we show the video just to give the highlights on the cohort 2?
Now the transport sector has several issues. Major ones are two, I think. One is infrastructure gap. Another one is externalities, climate resilience, safety. For professionals, requires leadership, new technologies, systemic thinking to promote green, inclusive transport projects. Hopefully, this type of program will help.
Over the past years, we have very deep cooperation with ADB. And last year, we signed a new round of MOU and agreed to explore more potential cooperation area. And I think the ATLP is a very important and innovative extension of our cooperation. The program is very successful and plays a very important role in promoting the regional and global connectivity.
I'm also very much proud that the Carrick Institute, Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Institute, is actually taking part in organizing this workshop. We are very strong and good partners with ADB in Asia Pacific Financial Development Institute. We have contributed by finding the right people, right institutions from our Carrick region. We will continue to do this with our partners.
I was really amazed and impressed by the amount of people we have from various walks of life. Our clients from ADB, different resident missions from headquarters. And I think whenever we organize something like this, there is a lot of learning just by doing a lot of the exercises together. It's a great way to learn from each other, to share thoughts, to have a bit of case studies and lectures which allow you to build some new skills.
So the program is about the next generation of the transport sector leaders. We have observed a lot of transformative or even disruptive changes in transport sector, which has very far-reaching impact to the world, to everyone's life. We feel this is the right moment to start building the next generation of transport leaders.
Through the site visit, we would like to provide a platform for the participants to see the technology solutions to the transport system and provide them an opportunity to have communication with the practitioner.
We developed 3 brand new case studies as part of this course. I think it really works well in this sector, mainly because there's always lessons that students can learn from looking at other projects in other countries that seem totally different than their own. They can then extract and apply to their own circumstances.
Этот семинар нам дал возможность обменяться опытом с нашими коллегами из Центральной Азии. Также дал полезные знания о современных вызовах и решениях в транспортной отрасли. Также особенно было полезно именно практические сессии, практические занятия, да, где мы обсуждали такие современные решения, как внедрить инновации, как развивать именно транспортную инфраструктуру в целом.
Мы нашли для себя определенных опыта для дальнейших развитий. Было бы лучше, что организаторы данного семинара этот семинар и продолжили в дальнейшем. Данный семинар определяет или выявляет новые качества современных лидеров в транспортном секторе.
That experience of the off-site visits showed how much innovation is happening in the region and countries like the PRC and how much we have to learn.
I also find that the leadership workshop and also the fireside chat brings a lot of leadership quality that needs to be held by the leaders. This includes having strong purpose, mitigating the risk, and having a genuine relationship with the clients.
What we like to do is to build on the very successful cohorts of the leadership program that were held in Tokyo and now in Shanghai. So how we do that is in two ways. Firstly, we'll take all the lessons from these cohorts and make sure that we build a very successful cohort in Seoul early next year, and also another one in Tokyo later next year. In addition, we will establish an alumni framework for the program. This will help us to discuss innovative transport solutions, build a wider network of transport leaders within the region.
And by the way, this video is also supported by our colleague from RKSI. Thank you very much. We will share it more widely on social media once it has gone through ADB internal clearance process. Building on the video, I just would like to quickly highlight two key developments that we introduced in cohort 2, which has already been mentioned before. The first one, of course, is the case-based learning approach. We developed case studies based on the real ADB transport projects, encouraging participants to reflect on the leadership challenges and decision-making in complex environments. This helped shift the discussion from theory to real practice. And based on the participants' feedback, it was highly engaging and valuable. Second, I would like to highlight the introduction of fireside chats with senior leaders in the transport sector. This is actually initiated by BPM's colleague who is very experienced in leadership training. This session provides a more informal setting for participants to hear directly from the very experienced senior leaders, focusing not only on the technical solutions, but also on leadership, judgments, and navigating uncertainties. So this again was particularly appreciated as it had offered practical insights that go beyond the classroom training. So overall, cohort 2, I believe it further strengthened the program's focus on leadership development. We were also encouraged to see a strong engagement and a growing network of the transport professionals across the region. Lastly, hope we can continue refine this program based on this experience and lessons learned, and look forward to expanding its impacts into the future cohort. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Eden. And as they mentioned, for cohort 2, there are new features that were taken for that cohort, and there was already a mention of the cohort 3. So we would also like to have a preview of the upcoming cohort 3 to be held in July. So let me call on Yu Jung to share with us some insights on this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Chen, for giving us a chance to introduce the preparation status of cohort 3. And actually, the cohort 3 organizers are composed of 7 staff led by Woo Hyun. And unfortunately, he could not make his presence today. So my name is Yu Jung Chang. I'm one of the organizers. And the third, let me introduce briefly about the cohort 3. And the third cohort is scheduled to take place in Seoul, Korea from 6 to 10 July. And the nomination has been completed, and program has been confirmed, and also venue has been set. So I can say that we can see the progress. We can see the preparation is progressing well at the moment, and we are very excited to invite everybody and to see all the participants in Korea. I would like to introduce some details of our program, but maybe better not for you to find out when you are in Korea. One thing I can mention that is all work and no play makes Jake a dull boy. So our team tried to make the core to 3 both productive, memorable, and also fun. So this is the only hint that I can give you at the moment. So I hope all the potential participants also are excited to join the core to 3. And we will do our best to make it, as I mentioned, productive, memorable, and fun. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Yujung. And I'm sure that will be a very exciting one. And as we have already completed 2 cohorts, so we were thinking as a team, what can make all of those who completed the program still relate to each other and still maintain contact so that they can continue to learn and exchange information or new knowledge about, new things that's happening with them. So we thought of launching the ATLP alumni newsletter. If we can show it to our participants. So today, we will be sharing with all of the alumni of this program for cohorts 1 and 2 a copy of this alumni newsletter. So the newsletter features, so you can see it here at the back. So it features several items. So it starts with a message from our senior sector director that this indeed is a very important initiative to let all of the participants still have a platform to be able to share with each other. And at the same time, the highlights of cohort 1 and cohort 2. And what's the next stop? The cohort 3 that Yujung gave us a preview of, and other upcoming events that we have within this program. So there are also some knowledge products and items that were available there. And of course, as Director Chen also mentioned, we always welcome any feedback and suggestion that you may have to always continue to improve all of our cohorts. So for those who have joined the program, please wait and see a copy of this. And to those who will be joining cohort 3 and 4, we're looking forward to welcome you as well to this alumni network. And with that, I would want to cue and also happy to see 2 of our alumni actually. So one from our ADB staff and one from our DMC participant. So we would like to invite 2 of our alumni to give us a message and what have they actually learned and saw within those cohorts that they have attended. So first, I would like to call Mariko Iwai for having given and attended cohort 2 to give us an insight about what happened that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariko Iwai, the ATLP alumni, and I joined ADB in September last year. I work on a project related to the port and maritime transport. I had the opportunity to participate in the ATLP in November last year as a part of cohort 2 held in Shanghai. At that time, I had only been with ADB for about 1 month. So my familiarity with ADB was very limited. So was still quite limited. The program provided an excellent opportunity to run through a wide range of case studies, which I found very insightful and practical. Before I joining ADB, my experience was largely focused on maritime projects. So ATLP, I was able to broaden my perspectives by learning about integrated approach to transport development. In particular, I found it very insightful to understand how the sector addresses inland connectivities, such as road networks, as well as regional initiatives like economic cooperation corridors. This wider perspectives has shaped how I think about my own work. The program itself was well balanced, combining the technical knowledge sharing, interactive case studies, and leadership workshops and site visits. This structure made the learning both practical and engaging. And in addition, cohort 2 included participants from the various developing member countries from the Central Asia, as well as colleagues from the resident missions. This created an opportunity for networking and exchanging perspectives across regional contexts, which is different from those of my own project. So overall, ATLP was a highly enriching experience that supported both my technical understanding and professional development. And so finally, I would like to express my appreciations to the organizers, founders, and program leaders for designing and delivering such a thoughtful and impactful program. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mariko. And it's good to hear that participants of this program are gaining something out of it. And as we also mentioned, usually the design of our program is not just ADB staff or DMC. It's always and. Like we put them together to give us a venue as well for them to also have a good discussion. And with this, I would like to call now our representative from the government of Pakistan who joined our cohort 1 in Japan. Let me call on Mr. Atif Rashid. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. This is Atif Rashid. I sit on foreign aided projects as General Manager at a National Highway Authority, Pakistan. So I have had the opportunity to attend this very first program last year in Tokyo. And one of the key takeaways were, for me, was the to have a climate resilient infrastructure. So at the moment, I'm doing a project with ADB, $150 million project, which is Emergency Flood Assistance Project. So what we have done is that soon after attending this program, we have asked the construction supervision consultant to have a revised hydrology after the floods. So we carried out revised hydrology for that particular project, and then we have integrated climate resilience matters into the design. So we have increased the number of culverts, we have raised the profile, the practical side of the things. And then we have introduced environmentally friendly pavement layers within known as cement stabilized space on that particular project, so that this project which we are doing is fully climate resilient and can sustain future floods as well. So this is, I think, one of the main key takeaways which we are implementing at the moment on a large scale on site. So I think that was a successful story for me to embed these environmental friendly material, the cement stabilized, raising the profile, having the revised hydrology on site. Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Thanks a lot for sharing that. And now we're also seeing the actual application in our countries. Yeah. So thank you for that. So now, aside from those that we have called upon, there are more partners in making this program a success. So now let's start with our roundtable discussion. And aside from that, we're also joined by some colleagues online. And this one will be facilitated by Director Chen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. So, colleagues, I believe you are as excited as me after listening to all the past alumni and other colleagues. So let's directly go to the roundtable discussion. I just want to announce two rules here. One is we will follow the Chatham House rule. So whatever we share in this room, we'll just stay within this room. We will appreciate a very open and candid discussion. Second one is 3 minutes, everyone. So we can actually demonstrate a good time management in this exercise. I would like to first invite partners, then I would like to invite fund managers to speak. After one round of discussion, I believe we have open discussion session. So if anyone has something to share at the end, you can also raise your hand at the end. So first, I would like to invite colleague from ADBI, Dr. Sitaram, to share his view. I believe there are some suggested questions already shared with you. I will not repeat here, but we will listen to you. Sitaram, please.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear and loud.
Okay. My apologies that I'm not in person, but I think I'm contributing positively to the carbon by joining online. So allow me to make this intervention very briefly. Before anything, first of all, congratulations on the highly successful Transport Forum, which has now become a flagship event of ADB, and also for really kickstarting this transport leadership program. So congratulations to all the senior colleagues there, Hiro Yamaguchi and Chen and Diana and Michael. We've come a long way. So my first observation, I was given two questions, so maybe audience don't know what the questions are. So first question was about, as a think tank, how do we look at the policy, research, capacity building and training? What elements would be integrated into the program which will strengthen the leadership component? What I observed is that, I think my colleagues will agree, most of the leaders miss out on the immense technology that has come available in the transport sector. I mean, as transport experts, we all know this Google Map is a transport expertise, right? But it's available for everybody, but there's a huge algorithm behind it which transport planners know what exactly is behind it. However, as a user, we use a Google Map, but policymaker, do we use Google Map to report on what transport policies, what transport infrastructure will build? And so the Google Map gave a better travel time, better modal choice. But we are not communicating. What I'm trying to explain is that there could be some scientific that where modern technology can be used for policy making rather than just policy making going in its own way, and then all these modern tools are available only for the users. So that's one aspect I think we can bring: use of new technologies, use of new ways of understanding behavior, and also new ways of planning and preparing infrastructure. That is one aspect. The second aspect, as we all know, transport projects are very huge and they are long term, meaning that they have to be done incrementally. So we need a master planning approach. We have to do like a jigsaw puzzle, build some things, build something more, and make it like a network in some cases, develop the station areas if it is a rail project. All these are, require a master planning, and that knowledge sometimes is in the feasibility studies that consultants prepare for us as financing institutions. Maybe the government receive it as a workshop, but it has to be a live document. So how to keep the master plan alive and then check back at it? I think these two things could be added in the learning program. So as a leader, people understand that they're actually setting a legacy when they do a big project. They're not just implementing a construction of infrastructure only in one go. I was given another question, which is about executive leadership and how in the transport sector for the next decade, the ATLP can contribute. And the case-based learning. I'm very happy. First of all, I want to congratulate that you have onboarded the case-based learning. The Stanford Leadership Academy, who we work with closely, their case-based learning has this problem-solving framework with the 3 circles. Those who have attended the program know that. That's about stakeholder management. Very simply put, transport planners, increasingly, when we prepare a project, we look at other sectors, affected communities, land acquisition, but those are all for constructing the physical project. More importantly, for the economic benefits to translate into the economy, we need to understand how the operation and maintenance or a life cycle approach of transport project is what is becoming increasingly important, especially when transport services need to be sustained with private sector involvement. The country where I live in Japan, most of the public transport is actually provided by private companies who also make a profit by running the services. This is, I think, a powerful message and lesson that we need to translate into our member countries so that they can really go to the new generation of transport, which are not only efficient, which are environmentally friendly, but they also make money, but distribute it so well that they are sustainable and they are affordable for the people. Let me stop here for the 3-minute intervention. Thank you, and back to you, Chen Chen.
Yeah. Thank you, Sitaram. Thanks for your very inspiring intervention and including the questions in your remarks. So let's come back to the room. The second speaker will be Mr. Shariev from Karaka Institute. I just quickly repeat the question here. How do you see CI's experience to help in facilitating the sharing of country experience and case study? And what's your advice to ATLP to operationalize, for the participants to operationalize the case study learning so that they can move beyond the learning to policy reform and real life works? Please.
Thank you, Chen Chen. First of all, it's my pleasure to join to this important session. And as knowledge arm of CAREC Secretariat, as you know, CAREC Institute is producer and work according to market laws, especially the law of supply and demand. From supply side, CAREC Institute produce high quality research products and supply for consumers. And from demand side, CAREC Institute use a reliable database from variety sources. And for CAREC Institute, transport remains one of the largest areas of regional cooperation. And as you know, the latest CAREC transport strategy midterm review give us the amount, the $8.61 billion of CAREC transport investment during 2021 and 2024. And today we signed MOU between CAREC Institute and ADB, and it will create all preconditions for continuing our bilateral two-way cooperation, and it will drive us new heights of success. And we have comprehensive research program, and this research program will enrich our bilateral cooperation, and I believe that from now on our joint activities will give us a key to the kingdom. And as you know, we have flagship events, and during and within the framework of these flagship events, we will find opportunities to continue and efficiently proceed our joint activities. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shariev. So I believe under the new MOU, we can do a lot together. Okay, now let's move to our partners within ADB. So as we mentioned many times, this is a one ADB effort. So we have a partnership with CCRE and the OMDP, which represent two important shifts, the climate change shift and the private sector shift of ADB's operations. I would like to first invite an online participant invitation. So Mr. Ago Sinha Roy, Director of Climate Change, Resilience and Environment Cluster. Please, Ago.
Thank you, Chen Chen. Can you hear me? Just please confirm that.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry for not being joining in person. I'm in mission currently. I've got 3 points. First of all, I think a very big congratulations to transport sector colleagues, not only for the successful events last year, but also being very forward-looking and designing this course. this is extremely important because in the space that I work in, which is climate and climate risk and adaptation, I think transport sector has a huge potential to really steer development in long-term resilient directions, because often transport set the path and then other sectors follow from it. So it has a huge potential. And I think this particular leadership course allows us to maximize the potential the transport sector offers. So very big congratulations on that. Great to hear the video and testament from the last year's cohort and that they benefited from it. It's very, very useful for us to know. My second point is that saying that the transport sector has a huge potential, which also means that there has to be sufficient and different kind of capacity and leadership characteristics that we might need to face the climate challenge. I mean, we know climate risk is increasing, but there are also a lot of uncertainties in the future, which means we need leadership qualities that are able to look at more adaptive management principles. As we heard from Sitaram, if you have a master plan, you have to continuously adapt as the future changes. That's very important. Second, it's also very important to have characteristics that allow leaderships at a systems level and not just individual sectors and subsectors, because these sectors are very related and transport will play an important role. The third is sometimes there will be decisions specific in the low carbon transition point of view, decisions around trade-offs, and transport sector, a good leader has to take the right decision so that it allows the sector to grow without compromising the development objectives, but at the same time, making the entire economy move towards a much more low carbon and resilient direction. So I really feel that this year's cohort, building on the lessons we have learned from last year's, we will work further with transport colleagues to improve the sessions around that. And hopefully we'll be able to deliver a much more targeted session around the leadership qualities is required from a climate, low carbon and resilience point of view. And we look forward to working with all of you on that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Argo. So that's very inspiring. And we know this time in cohort 3, we will have a dedicated workshop on climate change and disaster risk management. Look forward to that. So let's invite another online participant, Samantha Cook. Samantha is our director for disaster risk management of CCRE. Samantha, the floor is yours. You are still muted. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I just had to find the right button. It wasn't where it normally is, so I apologize. And my apologies that I'm not there in person. But trust me, I came down with an infection yesterday, so you would not thank me for being in the room with you. First and foremost, let me extend my congratulations. I think this is a really wonderful course. I'm really pleased to see that this is cohort 3. That it's continuing to go on ahead. And I'm also really glad that I came after Orgo, because that gives me a nice kind of connection to the disaster risk management agenda. Orgo and I work quite closely together, our teams work quite closely together. And so from our side, we're often looking, so Orgo's team are often looking at kind of how the climate is going to evolve, what those implications are going to look like. Whereas my team are often kind of how can we focus on building the resilience. There was a wonderful example from one of the speakers in the videos, actually from Papua New Guinea, and he was mentioning the landslides really impacting the road network. And this is actually a big project that we're going to be working on going forward. So it's really important connecting this to leadership, and what we would look for in terms of leadership is to really be identifying kind of upfront how the future risk is going to evolve and what we can do to strengthen our resilience against that future risk. Sometimes it's an engineering solution which is needed, other times less so. So for example, in other countries, I know that introducing more trees into the landscape has helped essentially bind the soil and reduce the instances of landslides as part of it, sticking with that team. So one of the things that I encourage, and there will be 3 points that I would encourage future leaders in the transport sector to focus in on, is essentially embracing change. There's a lot of change. It's a constant. The climate is changing, but also so is our design and technology. Keeping up to date with the latest innovations and making sure that we can adapt and we can apply those into our projects. I'm always keen to learn from new people to see what's happened. So one of the big innovations that I've been looking at lately connects into the transport sector. Actually, it's the emergency bridges that Japan has, and the ability that they have to be able to mobilize these emergency bridges as a temporary solution after an event has essentially impacted the road network. These emergency bridges allow the traffic to pass while focusing in on the bigger construction or reconstruction that's needed. In that regard, I'm very much connected to that is humility. Never think that you know all of the answers. You never will. And it's always great to learn. Like, keep learning as much as is possible, and make sure that, you know, with that humility, make sure that you're inviting other people in to share and express their opinions. Everyone's going to have a slightly different viewpoint. We all look at the same problem, but we'll all take different things away from it. So really encouraging that interaction is important. And ultimately then what this will lead to, in theory anyway, is a shared strategy. If we can all get onto the same page and know where we're headed, I think that will really help to essentially make sure that we have essentially nice, resilient transport infrastructure. Knowing what the end goal is, knowing that we want to be adapting to future climate change, we want to be resilient to the disasters that we know are going to be happening today, and making sure that essentially we want to minimize that impact, not only on just our economies, but also on our people as well. And this, to me, is really kind of the crux of the matter as to why transport is a really key sector within climate and disaster risk management. We need our transport up and running to be able to respond and return to some level of normalcy as quickly as possible. So congratulations again to cohort 3. Very much looking forward to interacting with you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samantha. I think among others, I particularly like your point. We should allow different views to meet each other in such kind of program. We know climate change is changing. I think the individual is also changing. Thank you. So let's move to our colleague from OMDP. So for those not familiar, OMDP is actually representing the PPP and market development. So we are very honored to have 2 directors here. So first, let me invite Azim Hashimi, who is the director for Advisory Division 1. So why leadership is important and what should we do?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for inviting OMDP. In fact, the last session was the first time our team contributed, and we actually got very positive feedback. In terms of the questions that you asked, maybe I'll answer the last one. What are the leadership qualities? For us, a curious mind. When we go in, we actually want a lot of our counterparts to be asking questions, because we have now been a part of ADB and sort of developing this PPP portfolio for well over about 8-9 years. There's a lot more experience that we have now, and there's a lot more cross-country experience that we intend to bring in. So a lot of times we get a lot of curious questions, and that's very good because it allows us to sort of engage with our counterparts and actually show and guide them how it has been done in various different countries. I think from our perspective, the other thing that is a very important leadership quality is decision making. We need to make decisions. Given that there is fiscal pressures, given that a lot of the governments are looking at an alternate solution to a sovereign procurement or a public sector procurement. And there are some areas where the private sector can bring in value from money, but at the end of the day, the decision making is a very important thing, because as ADB, we can come to a point where we will give them advice and give them an option. That option has to be sort of looked at and decided on by the leaders of the future. So for us, those two qualities are extremely, extremely important. In terms of a perspective, this year we have now both sides. Region 1, which is what I cover, a lot more projects have happened around roads, roads and now much more on railways. Sid, my counterpart director, will speak in a moment. His team covers a lot more around railways, around digital, around urban rapid transit, and so on and so forth. So, when we want to sort of go out, and this is what we'll be doing as a part of the design of cohort number 3 and 4, we'll be bringing in various case studies from various regions and sharing them with the cohort to see how and if there is, what is the learning that they can get from various economies in which we're where we are working, and also what are we looking to do, including areas where, for example, around the bridges, we may also look at a nature-based solution to make sure that there is no more degradation of land for the strength of the bridges. So, and this is also another area where we are working in a lot of the economies. So there's a lot more experience we can bring outside of transport to share how it has been done. Okay, I'll stop here. Maybe I'll give to Sid.
Yeah, thank you, Kasim. So Sid, Mr. Shidchar is another director. Azim already introduced you. Same question, please.
Yeah, thank you. When one thinks about advanced leadership in transport, I think one of the emerging and growing areas which we all as, government officials who are typically our clients have to confront and deal with is the increasing role of private sector. Transport, the way it was done in the past, is not going to be the way it's being done today and the future. So we got to think a little differently about transport. Yeah. So what does that mean? Yeah. So you need to start understanding what and where and how the private sector is going to play that role. And there are different modalities of doing this. Yes. So that is why we find it very encouraging that in your leadership training program, you're dedicating a separate module or section for PPPs. And I think that's very important. That's going to be very important for our DMC clients. Already we are, even in this transport forum, a lot of people have come and asked us about, what we're doing and how to do it, etc. So what does it mean? How do we kind of all bring it together in this leadership training program? I think there are two things which one can think of. One is that little bit of a technical knowledge. And what I mean by technical knowledge here is that many of our government officials and ADB staff, the vast majority of them, would have some degree of familiarity how traditional procurement is done. But when we are talking about PPP procurement, PP modalities, there are certain technical details on how contracts are designed. So I think some basic understanding, yes, of what is the contractual design and the risk allocation and where what works within the different subsectors, I think some kind of introduction or a quick summary of that could be useful. So there is that technical aspects of that. Then there's the actual practical aspects of it. So you cannot teach anybody leadership as such. I think you can accentuate certain things. I think what's important here is that to give people sort of a playbook or some sense of how it has been done in the past. And I think that's where the case studies becomes very important. So right now, our office is developing a couple of case studies just for this forum, just for this training. So I think that's where some of the practical aspects of how this has been done in the past, I think that kind of dealing with the practical problems and how it has been done successfully in the past. I think that's one way to teach leadership. And the other thing I would say is that if these case studies are actually ADB case studies, it becomes even more powerful, because then our staffs can understand that this has been done by ADB staff, and this is the way it's possible in this organization. And also our clients feel confidence that ADB can do that. So I think those case studies, which are ADB case studies, could be quite impactful as far as our leadership training program is concerned. Okay, I'll stop there.
Yeah, thank you, Sid. So just for information of other participants, so we have designed a model for this training program week. So we actually dedicated a half day for for PPP and climate change. So both the OMDP colleagues and CCSD colleagues already appointed a dedicated team to design a workshop. So we give them a task. They don't have to make all the participants as an expert in the specific area, but by the time they finish the workshop, the participants should still feel PPP or climate change an interesting subject. And if they want to talk, they know who to talk with. Thank you. I would like now move to our fund managers. So the ATLP program actually has enjoyed a lot of support from ADBI, from AFDI, Carrick Institute, and now with COTI. And behind that, actually, we also get a lot of support. So the EAKPF is actually the first fund confirmed its contribution to ATLP. Then PRC fund also joined. So we are now discussing with JFPR and the High Level Technology Fund what kind of proposal we should provide. So I would like to invite the fund managers to tell us what's your advice on this leadership program, what kind of signal we should convey to the participants in this program, and also what are the focus of your fund if we wanted to keep you as a partner of this leadership program. Allow me to first invite our fund manager of EAKPF, Mr. O, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me today, and I'm very happy to join this roundtable to be part of this discussion. And also, I'd like to thank you giving me opportunity to share what transport sector and ATLP means to the Korea Fund and what we expect from the ATLP going forward. The Korea Fund, namely eAsia and Knowledge Partnership Fund, has been supporting ADB technical assistance and knowledge sharing activities since 2006, when it was established. Over the years, we have supported many sectors. Actually, all the sectors are eligible for our support in ADB. But transport has consistently been one of our major areas of support. One reason is that transport projects usually have very tangible and feasible development impact. Roads, railway, port, and urban transport system directly affect people's daily lives and economic activities. Transport TA also often lead to larger investment projects later on. So support in this sector can have a strong multiplier effect. Another reason is that Korea itself went through very rapid infrastructure development over the past few decades. During the process, Korea built up extensive experience, not only in construction, but also in operation, maintenance, smart mobility, ITS, and long-term infrastructure planning. We believe these experience and lessons can be shared with developing countries. Against this backdrop, we learned about ATLP initiative and felt that it could become a very meaningful program. We believe it can provide a valuable platform for transport officials and experts and professionals, ADB staff, to exchange ideas, learn from each other, and discuss practical challenges together. We also believe leadership and institutional capacity are becoming increasingly important as the transport systems are becoming more complex and technology are evolving very rapidly. At the same time, many countries are facing growing demand for infrastructure that is safer, more sustainable, more climate resilient, and easier to maintain over the long term. In that sense, we believe ATRP comes at a very timely moment. That is why we are very pleased to join ATRP as a partner. Going forward, we hope the program can contribute not only to expanding transport infrastructure, but also to improving the quality of transport projects in developing countries. And through this process, we would also be very happy to see more opportunities for Korean experience, technology, institutions, and policy lessons to contribute to ADB transport operations and capacity building effort in DMCs. We also hope the ideas and needs identified through ATRP can lead to follow-up TAs and investment projects in the future. And if there are areas where Korea's support can be useful, we would be very happy to support such effort. Thank you again, and we look forward to continue the collaboration with all partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. O. We take note about your advice. So now let's move to Mr. Guo from PRC Fund. So same question to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Good afternoon. I'm Biao from PRC Fund. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to learn about the impressive progress and the outcomes of this program. Also let me start with a brief of a word on our fund. The PRC Fund was established joined by China and Japan in 2005. It's operated under 3 core goals: supporting poverty reduction, promoting regional cooperation, and share China's development experience to our member. So these goals closely align with the bank's strategy, and through the fund's TA and data sharing activities, we support all the sectors, and the transport sector is also an area of focus. 10% of our funded projects are related to the transport section, and also this program is very set a very good examples for our projects also. Practically, we look at the proposals for 3 things: innovation, demonstrative impact, and regional cooperation value. With this in mind, I will come back to the program, the questions. We are very glad to see the program, progress right on track. And in the future, we believe, I think, three things we are looking for is one is institutional reforms. We believe the unique power of the leadership is influential on the institutional reforms. From the move to the result are both important to us. So we believe we are expecting to see more changes on policies and more initiatives from the members. Secondly is the improved project quality. We believe the stronger pipelines and better prepared bankable projects, which can also which have the Chinese elements in there. That means we can bring the Chinese experience and the techniques in the program, in the projects, which can bring more value addition to the projects. That's the second factors. The third one, I think, is cross-country collaborations. I think this is a key strength of this program. The program has already built valuable networks across the members. The next step, we believe, is that take this further, encouraging more structured collaborations, joint initiatives, and the replication of successful models across members. In this way, this also, echoes our the selective factors. That is the regional cooperation values. So, in this way, I think the program should generate more regional cooperation value beyond the individual members. In short, we encourage the program to continue strengthening innovation, delivering tangible results, and deepening the regional cooperations. We look forward to seeing this program evolved into a high-impact platform. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Guo. That's very encouraging. We also take note of your advice. So let's move to Mr. Manabu Takami, Fund Manager for JFPR and the High Level Technology Fund.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And as Director Chen mentioned that currently our team is considering the newly financing this program. That's why this meeting is quite timely for me. And then, yeah, I've already wrote about the this program, and then I learned that that's how impactful this program is this. On behalf of the ADB Japan Fund teams, I would like to briefly share our perspective. The first, in terms of the area, so we like to see scale up. So I'd like to highlight quality infrastructure investments. So one of its key priority areas of Japanese trust fund is exactly promoting the quality infrastructure. And as highlighted in Japan's governor's statement at the recent ADB annual meeting in Samarkand, so there is a strong expectation for ADB to further advance quality infrastructure across its operations. So including infrastructure that is resilient to the natural disasters. So in this regard, if ATLP can encourage our leaders to put even greater emphasis on the quality aspect of the infrastructure, especially climate aspects, that will be very much aligned with our partners' expectation. But in this regard, I'm glad to hear that this program has already paid very much attention, climate aspect, and then I'm also glad to hear that. So Mr. Achuri from Pakistan had a lot about the climate resilient infrastructure. That is quite good news for me. And second, to enhance value for money and better respond to DMC needs, so we should strategically leverage partner resources, including the trust funds, not only just as a financing, but also source of the innovation and expertise. So this means it is important to strengthen early engagement with the partners and clearly articulating the value additionality throughout the project cycle, so that the partners' contribution become well integrated and visible. So which means we encourage utilizing the partners' technology and knowledge into project design and delivery, aligning with the DMC priorities and the demand, and systematically tracking the result to demonstrate strong development impact. From this perspective, I think ATLP is already a very good platform to connect DMC leaders with such partners' expertise. For example, in the Japan cohort, so we very much appreciate ADB's contribution. So going forward, so we hope that the participants will be able to apply, but they have learned through ATLP to actual project on the ground, so that we can see tangible result. these are our perspectives. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Takami-san. So we have already finished one round of discussion. I think now we can move to an open discussion. So if you have any other advice you'd like to share, please just stand your name card. We can actually, I will call your name. But first, Hiro, do you like to share some thought?
Yeah, I don't have much, but I just appreciate your all supports within ADB, and then definitely from the outside ADB also getting the funding supports as well as the in-kind supports. Actually, resources, not necessarily the money, really quite a huge. Like a CI provided lots of the support, and also Chinese institution, and definitely ADBI also we got huge support on the technical side as well. Actually, just when we started this program, our thinking is actually not coming from the, let's learn climate change, let's learn private sector, not like that, because we have plenty of those training opportunities already. But we try to focus on the, leaders need to understand the state of arts, what's going on well in advance in this transport sector business. Then we look at those cases or those, and then eventually those new ideas, great initiatives of those all relates to the climate change or the environmental consideration, and also private sector involvement eventually. So we go for those state of arts or the advanced technology of those, we look at that, it already relates to that naturally. So that's where actually those climate or environment, private sector involvement really comes in the thinking of the private transport sector professionals. If we go for training, PPP training, climate training, it doesn't hit honestly. Maybe I can talk about keywords, but it's not coming to your real life when you prepare transport projects. But we go for transport, then they coming to those new things, climate, environment, and then the private sector, all coming in, and then the real becomes blood when you talk about those projects. So that's a background, and then nicely coming in the reality on that. Yeah, I stop here. So again, they appreciate, and maybe we may expand more collaboration required because we go for state of arts and new ideas. Then maybe beyond those areas also, maybe something there. Then we have to bring in. So that kind of collaboration continues. So yeah, thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Hiro. I don't see any raised tag. So let me give back the floor to Dan.
Thanks, Director Chen, and thanks everyone for that lively discussion and an open sharing of all of our insights. So just quickly, I know we're going over time already, but just quickly, let us see what's coming up. So for ATLP, like what we said a while ago, we will be having cohort 3 in July, and it will be held in Korea, while cohort 4 is planned also to be done in Japan in October. So we're looking forward to the support of everyone so that we can continue to invite a lot of our DMCs and ADB staff to be part of the succeeding cohorts. And aside from the cohorts that we are organizing, so we would also like to have fireside chats and sometimes webinar where we will also be inviting the alumni of this program. Like what we said, we want to establish a platform where they can continue to share and also exchange knowledge. So we are aiming to invite everyone to our upcoming events such as that, the fireside chats and our webinars. Thanks for that. And to close our program, I would like to invite Director Chen for some remarks.
Yeah, I think I don't need long remarks, but I do have a lot of note here. We definitely will digest this. I just want to highlight 2 points. So one is at this moment, the ATLP has been fully institutionalized in Transport Office. So you may know Transport Office has 5 teams. This is a program owned and operated by the 5 teams together. So for each cohort, we have a host director in charge of the overall organization. And also we have a secretary of the team, Dan, Miko, they are all part of the team, leading all this content development. So the commitment of Transport Sector Office is very much assured here. The second point I want to mention is we do value the money contributed either from ADB budget or from the trust fund. So from the first cohort, before we get any support, I think when we fly in all the directors of ADB, SSD, we made a commitment. We will only fly economy class. So fortunately, the 3 countries, Japan, China, Korea, are nearby. I think we can see very good value for money. And these 3 countries provided a tremendous amount of innovative transport solutions. We feel it's very good, fortunate for ADB can enjoy this kind of environment. So with that, we will continue our journey. We will count your support in this program. We will definitely report back to you again and again about the progress. So please feel free to reach out to any of us. Dan, Miko, and all our colleagues are always available to have a discussion or respond to your questions. Thank you very much.